Hello everyone, welcome to On Track with UW Math. I'm here with a very special guest.
I'm Shane Bauman.
Would you like to introduce yourself? What do you teach?
Sure, so I'm part of the Center for Education in Mathematics and Computing. I'm an associate professor teaching stream, and this semester I'm teaching Calculus 2 for science.
Awesome, how's that been so far?
It's my first time teaching science students. I've taught math students mostly for the last 10 years. They're not as excited about math as the math students, but I'm having a good time.
What's the biggest difference you think between teaching math and science students?
Well, for the science students, a lot of this course isn't a terminal. It is a terminal course. It's like the last math they'll take for some of them, and so for some of them, they just want to get through it. Whereas for a lot of the math students I teach, because I teach often first year, it's like the starting of their program, and they're like looking to build on what they're learning.
Do you teach Math 135?
I have taught Math 135. I taught it for 10 years in a row, every fall, but for the last 2 years I haven't taught it.
Oh wow, okay, so there's a lot of discourse surrounding Math 135. We get a lot of mixed reviews on the course content. So what do you think is your biggest takeaway from teaching that course? What do you think students learn the most of?
Well, it is a course about mathematical thinking and learning to think about math the way we think about math at the university level as opposed to high school level. So it's a lot of working out the details of mathematics, the language of mathematics, the logic of mathematics. So I actually love teaching the course because I feel like you're shaping young minds into thinking the way mathematics in a new way. But I know that for a lot of the students it is a big stretch and it is a challenging course. But it is one of those courses where you really are building a foundation for that's really going to be important for your other math courses that you take.
One of the burning questions that all our viewers have is, what's your math hot take?
So I think my math hot take is that although some students like to think it's a badge of honor to do well in a course and not go to class, that I actually don't think that's a badge of honor. That if you have paid all this money to come to the university and to get a degree, and I think you want to get as much out of that as you can. And so just to kind of not take advantage of, you have these experts in the field who you can learn from. You have a chance to interact with your peers, and hopefully your instructor has designed a really good lecture to make you learn and see new things. And so just to totally give up on that and just sometimes students don't even go for the first class. They just sort of give up right away and they're going to go to class. And they think that that's a really great thing. I don't think it's actually a great thing.
Mm-hmm. Has a student ever told you that to your face?
No, I don't think they've ever, no. They've never
That's
said.
good, that's good. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the best part about being in university is speaking with my peers and I learn more when I'm, discussing with a group. And I think that's the best thing about being in class.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think there are sometimes in some instructors maybe might be doing things well, and I think it's a good idea if you feel brave enough to sometimes go and talk to your instructor and say, hey, I don't find these lectures very helpful. And then they might actually take that feedback and maybe adjust the ways that they're teaching.
That's good advice, yeah, for sure. What is your favorite thing about being a professor?
So I think my favorite thing is just being a part of the learning process. So I love the aha moments that you get to see when, especially when a student is struggling with something, and then they come to you and they ask some questions, and you're able to figure out what they're misunderstanding. Mm-hmm. And when you work on a problem, they're stuck, and then you give them a hint or you explain something, and they're just like, oh. Mm-hmm. So it's like that sort of exciting moment where they really understand something. That's the best part about being a professor.
What's your advice for first-year students?
So I think my advice is that some students, they come in, especially in math, but they probably never had to get help because it's always been easy for them in high school, is that getting help and coming and asking questions is not a sign of weakness. Yeah. A lot of students think that only the stupid kids have to go for extra help, but my experience in teaching in the 20 years I've been teaching is that the students that actually come to your office hours and get help are actually the ones who are doing the best in the course. Mm-hmm. Because they're the ones who are willing to wrestle, who are willing to find the areas where they don't know things and then come and get the help they need from their instructor.
That's great, yeah. So with 20 years of teaching under your belt, what do you think is the biggest myth about being a professor?
The biggest myth, I think, is that professors know everything. There's a lot of things that we know that I don't know, and there are times when students ask me questions, and I have to say, I don't know the answer to this. I'll have to get back to you, and I'll go and talk to my colleagues, or I will have to look something up, and then come back to them with the answer to the question. It's not that I know everything about even the topics that I've been teaching for a long time, I'm always still learning new things.
For sure, yeah. That's good advice, yeah. So what's something that people get wrong about UW Math?
So I think that people think that if you want to do well in math, you have to study all the time. And my experience with students is that it's the students that actually have really good balance in their life. Now, time management is a huge thing. You really need to manage your time well. But the students who make time for, studying, but then also make time for, doing physical activity, socializing, spending time with friends, they're the ones that have more balance in their life. Because you really can't, in reality, you can't study all day long. You're just not going to be very efficient at it.
Yeah.
So if you schedule your time well and focus, put away your devices and maybe with a friend, but study well for a good period of time, then you can take a break, and it's actually better for your mind, better for your body.
How many hours of CS should students be studying per week?
Hours of CS or math?
Both.
Both. Well, I think it's hard to put a number on it because I think it really depends on who you are and also where you are in the term. I think certain parts of the term it's going to be more intense than others. But at a bare minimum, I think you should be at least doing, for every hour in class, you should be at least 2 hours out of class. Probably at least 6 hours a week for each course that you're taking.
My next question is, what keeps you going when math gets challenging?
Well, I think it's important to remember that math doesn't define me. I think for a lot of people, when they have failed at something, they think it defines them. And math is about a struggle, and there's lots of things in math. Like even as a faculty member now, I create math contests as part of my job. And when I'm testing out math contest questions, you'll reach questions where you have to struggle with it. And just because you struggle doesn't mean that you're a failure. And so to remind myself that it doesn't define me who I am. Math is huge part of my life because it's my job, and I love it, but it's not the defining factor.
Thank you for that. Thank you. I think that's good advice. Yeah. I did get to sit in on one of your technically, not a lecture, but on a time you were teaching for the math teach off. So I got to experience what your classroom kind of environment is like. And you seem very passionate about what you do. So I want to ask you, what excites you about math?
Well, I love the fact that it's a lot of problem solving, and that a lot of people think that math isn't very creative, but there actually is, when you get beyond the rote problems, there is a certain amount of creativity, and it's not always the same approach. And so building on the approach that you need the basics, you need to have understand the theory, understand the theorems that you're at your disposal, but then it's a bit of creativity of which to apply, what to do now.
Thank you so much for joining us on Track. I'm here with our special guest,
Shane Bauman.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you in the next one.